Alright, today I'm going to show you how to take apart the Galaxy Tab 3. This is the little 7-inch version. First, you're going to take your non-marking pry tool and just kind of pry between the edge of the screen and the plastic around the outside. The whole process will take about a minute. There's a bunch of little clasps that you're trying to separate as you go around the edge. I'm not going to speed it up so you can see exactly what I'm doing as I go around the outside. Every single part for this phone or this tablet, I'm going to link in the video description, so you can, if you ever plan on replacing any of the headphone jacks or speakers or screens, you can find all the parts listed below pretty easily. Anyway, so I'm just finishing with the last couple clasps right now, and you can see the screen will separate from the body right about here. And you just kind of pull the back off. And then you see these 4 screws, and these 4 screws hold the battery into the tablet. They're a Phillips head, so once you get those screws out, take your little pry tool and kind of lift up on the little connector down below. Be really careful with this and don't pull away from the motherboard, because I've seen that connector come loose before. So be very gentle when pulling the battery out. The battery has a little plastic frame around it, so when you're buying the replacement, it probably won't come with that frame. Just take off those little stickers, and then you'll be able to reapply the frame to the new battery. Here's all the screws for the motherboard, all Phillips head, all the same size, so you don't need to worry about where the screws actually go, so get rid of those. And here's the ribbon cable connectors. Just pop them up and off. They're kind of like Legos. They'll clasp on and off. Just pry each one of those up. That's the headphone jack, and those are the buttons along the side. And then the motherboard comes up and away from the tablet. Here's the headphone jack. There's 2 screws holding that in, so if your headphone jack is fuzzy, or if it stopped working, or if there's something stuck down inside of it, you just want to replace it, just take those 2 screws out, and this is all that it is. Once again, the parts are listed in the video description below. Here is the 3 megapixel rear camera, tiny little guy. And then these are the speakers that are going along the bottom of the phone. There's dual speakers. And conveniently, these little ribbon cables are very fragile. But Samsung left a little groove underneath each one of them. You can see me taking my little my tweezers right here and kind of finding that groove. And you can use like a pin or a needle or anything else to slip it under there. And you can see the double-sided sticky tape right there. You just gotta be really careful not to damage those ribbon cables. And then the speakers just come up and away from the device. This one has a little clasp along the right-hand side, so it's a little bit harder to pull away. Now, I found this part to be pretty interesting. There's a plastic bracket up along the top that you can just kind of pull away from the top of the tablet. And it holds in the camera, the front camera, and the LED for the flash, or the light sensor. And you can see right next to the camera and the LED that there's a slot for a speaker. So it makes me think that when Samsung was designing this, they had, an option was to make it as a phone instead of a tablet. So I found that pretty interesting. The frame has a built-in speaker spot. Anyway, clip the black plastic piece back down into place. And that'll hold the front camera and LED. And now this is the screen. This is the whole screen right here. I'm not going to show you how to separate the glass and the LED, mostly because that takes forever and the success rate is very low. But if you have a heat gun and a kind of a pry tool, a separator, you can probably get the 2 apart. I recommend replacing the whole thing as a unit. It has a much higher success rate. Anyway, you just saw me replace the headphone jack and the rear camera. Just putting those back into place. And I'm also snapping the bottom speakers into place. Making sure that the ribbon cables are in the spots they were designed for, so they'll reconnect again with the motherboard. Getting the one screw in for that speaker on the left side. Now the motherboard, make sure all the ribbon cables are, above the motherboard when you put it in so you can clasp them down into place. And then here's the screw layout. Once again, all 7 screws. Grab the battery with the plastic bracket, get it into place, and then you have those 4 screws around the outside as well. And then clip the battery connector back in, just kind of like a Lego. And then run your hand around and make sure all of your little connectors are pressed down and snapped into place, so you don't have to worry about that later. You don't have to pry the screen up out of the frame again. You'll hear a series of satisfying clicks as you press the screen back into the frame. And that is it. If you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to like if this video helped you, and don't forget to subscribe. I put up videos pretty often, so it'll be fun to see you around. Any parts and stuff are listed in the video description below. You can hit me up on Twitter as well at ZachsJerryRig. Thanks for watching.